few questions. Um, so there is a saying, when in Rome, do what Romans do. Ever heard of that saying? Yeah? Okay. It simply means when you are invited to dine with kings, you should speak the language that kings speak, right? So, and today we have been called to a palace. Um I should start by saying a qualification alone is not enough. You need to demonstrate skills when you are called to a place because, like they say, beauty can take you places, but your character is what will keep you in those places, is it? So, in that saying, you must master etiquette. Queen Esther, we all know Queen Esther, right? Yeah. Was chosen as a fine young woman and she was prepared for her position. Her anointing only wasn't the only thing Esther had in that palace. She had to learn how to carry herself, how to speak, how to stand in presence of power. She learned timing, she learned poise, and how to present an issue with wisdom and remain grounded while doing so. You can have with the president, we can have lunch with the president. Tilegeza apita kuitana kuti upite ku state house kuja. Kenako iweyo basi balala kumangoyankhula zako ngatuluka unjika kugula, you know, mine kumakhalira kulimbe kuja sizimakhalira nje. You know how to carry yourself properly with grace, yeah. So all of us here are reading epistles to be read by all men. We're ambassadors of heaven. We're ambassadors of Christ. That's why we are called Christians. We want to live a Christ-like life. And we must learn the diplomatic protocol, isn't it? If we are ambassadors of Christ, then we are diplomats. Yeah? Okay, so today's discussion is about grooming, etiquette, and relationships. Things that will affect us as we relate with others every single day, how we present ourselves every single day as young women. And I have quite, like I said, a few questions here to help us as we walk into our purpose. So we are starting with grooming. So my first question is, I am so sorry. I just started speaking and I got carried away. Let me allow these gorgeous women to introduce themselves before we start.
Hi everyone, I am Yankho Zombe. I'm studying accounting here, which is bar, and I'm in the third year, second semester. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Glory and I'm also a student here. I'm studying Bachelor of Business Management and Entrepreneurship. I'm in my fourth year, first semester.
And it doesn't help us in any way. So my question is, what does grooming really mean? And if you're speaking to a young woman who has never been taught, doesn't know anything, what would you say grooming is?
Okay, let me start. Grooming are the practices or habits that you do to maintain your personal hygiene, cleanliness, or just to maintain a good appearance. So it's not just about saying that that yoga, like I said, practices, habits. These are things that you do continuously. It's not a once-off thing. These are things that you do every day, every time, because the goal, the end purpose of the whole process of grooming is that in the end, you should still be able to look good and look nice.
My second question on grooming is, what are your non-negotiables, like grooming habits you cannot do without and nobody should skip?
I would say it's hygiene. Like, I believe ladies have to be hygienic. You have to take care of yourself. Yes. And the other thing is how you dress. And I believe in Christianity we talk about about modesty. So it's really important that you take that in accordance, like you follow those things. So yeah.
So I feel like there is a lot of argument when it comes to modesty. What would you define modesty as?
Per to me, I would say modesty is more like uh, how you dress, how you speak, and how you behave around people. Um, and I would say that it's more about how you carry yourself as well. Mm, I don't know how to really explain it, but then in terms of dressing, I know there are a lot of arguments. Anybody dresses the way they want. But I would say that what's your intention when you're dressing? Do you want to attract, or what are you trying to get? Is it for yourself? For self, what do we, is it for self pride? I mean, for self pleasure, or to glorify God? So that's what matters the most. Then, no, as Christians, I believe as Christian ladies, it's more about glorifying God, not glorifying yourself. Mm-mm. It's more about respecting your body, realizing that this body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, and taking care of it. Osamalo azoti zizo sezizingobwera kwayo ukuthi anthu azingowoda chilichonse. So yeah, that's more I would say about. And when it comes to speech, is knowing what to say at the right time. Kumayankhula zinthu edifying, as amenazodi in the Bible with ziyankhula zinthu zodi zothandiza munthu osati mangu yankhula zili zonse mangu yankhula ibwantha yankhula or majokes omwe mangu yankhula osazoli anthu ena wena ndi anthu tipo anthu osiyana siyana ena amalandira zinthu mosiyana. So yeah, you must know how to speak and how to, yes, ndikakhala behavior, behaving appropriately. Mona sukudi this ndilimalo agati, as we're talking about etiquette. Ndilimalo agati, how am I supposed to behave in these places, and how am I not supposed to behave in certain places? So yeah, that's all I understand about modesty.
All right. What I can say, the non-negotiables for every girl that I believe. This is my personal list. I don't know about everybody else. One, cleanliness, guys. No matter what, I feel like a girl just has to be clean. Like you have to be clean to feel clean. You get me? It's not something that you can say, Woody, ball and that's but you have to feel comfortable in your skin, comfortable like in your own body. And the only way you feel that way sometimes is when you're clean enough that you feel good. Okay, you know how that feeling like when you bath, that's that sort of cleanliness. And then also, like she said, modesty. You know, people say that you have to dress the way you want to be addressed. So you can be dressing a certain way, and when certain things are happening to you, you start to wonder, why do I always attract, let's say, for example, these kinds of boys? It may not necessarily be that the boys are looking at your physical appearance, but what you wear is calling them out. So modesty is also something that I feel like someone should have, like it's a non-negotiable. You should really put it within you as a girl to say, I want to be modest. Like make a decision. These are the kinds of clothes I want to be buying. These are the clothes I want to be wearing, and this is how I want to be doing it, and everything else. You know, make a decision. Have standards, especially when it comes to dressing. You can't just be that person who does everything anyhow. You know, it's like kaunjiga. Mukaunjiga mujoga kula belo ijoga tekula. Makazo vazo siana siana. And you have a choice to like choose kuti mubelo mumu chova jomwe ndikuona ngati kuti chingandikhale neyo ndichiticho kapena chabwino ndichiticho. So modesty is in that sense. You choose to say I'll be modest. This is how I'm going to be wearing. And it's never about what people are going to say. It's more about what God say about how I'm dressing and how do I feel about how I'm dressing. Thank you.
Expanding on modesty as well, there is a saying, a Chichewa saying that goes, Mulungu samaona zomwe zili banja amaona za muntima. Yeah? Anthu ambiri timapezeka zokuti we excuse ourselves by that saying. Kuti ayi ndimapemphera, so mene ndimapemphereramu basi. That's it. I can dress however I want. And I'm not judging. However, like she said, expanding on that, kuti you are addressed like menewe ukuzibonethela kwantu. That's how people are going to address you. If you respect yourself, people are going to respect you. If you don't respect yourself, people are not going to respect you at all. All right, moving on. Can you share 3 simple steps for a young woman to follow to look put together? Like, kuri ababa ndikangomenya studies izinde kuti basi zikhoza kukhala kuti I can, 1, 2, 3 and go.
Okay. Number 1, be clean. Like I said, kumasamba. Like, samba suwavuda, guys. You don't have to stay there an hour. Kuri kuri tiziwe kuri wasamba. Like clean yourself. Be clean. Number 2, look good. Umachena, like wear those clothes. Also, gula zova zogudi sister size ya wodzone ngadobega as a sister or something. Find something that fits you. That when you stand in the mirror, you should be like, oh I'm definitely fearful and wonderfully made. Confidence also comes from the things that we wear. And sometimes, when I'm a low self-esteem is not necessarily coming from the things that people say. When they look in the mirror, they don't even like who they look like. So, kumasamba, dress nicely, look good always. And number 3, do the right things. Do the right things, make the right decisions. I mean, look good. Because, you can be intentional about zintuyomo masanka kubanga. And at the end of the day, like I said, whatever you do, no matter how small, contributes to your confidence. So dress nicely, look good, wear the right clothes, the right outfits. Kumachena, even if you have nowhere to go, guys, or at home, you can wear that dress. Those nice outfits are not only for Sunday service. Because antuti masungira zofa mana kutandika vala ku church. Kumano when we're at home, timanguva chinsalu, ndijiti like every day. And those are the only clothes people ever see you with. Ukamanga zingongo from Monday to Sunday. Uzamaswa Sunday mama when you're going to church. Look good, dress up, look nice. Like, no, I just want to look good today. Do that often. Look good and be clean.
Okay. Akuti chidresi chijacho chomwe timavala kunyumba chija anthu asakutona chija chimene chijato chipange goodbye. Okay, so we have spoken about how you look, like you as a human being taking care of yourself as a young woman, saying, good, okay, my hygiene is on point, my dressing is on point. And now, let's talk about how you relate to other people. And this is where we talk about etiquette now, right? So, my first question on etiquette would be, what is etiquette? How would you define etiquette in a way that matters to us as young women in 2026? How would you say a young woman who is aspiring to walk in her purpose carry herself?
Okay, to me, etiquettes, these are the rules or norms that govern how you behave in social circles, at school, or in any professional setting. So it's not just behavior, yeah, kunyumba, but like let's say if you work at the office, how do you behave? If you're at school, when you're with people, how do you behave? That's etiquette. So any woman or any lady that's exposed to such is supposed to be one respectful. Like she said, you don't just speak anyhow. When you're in a place, recognize authority and also speak with respect. Because the people that you respect and the ones, no matter how high their positions, it also shows just how you were raised. In our culture here in Malawi, it is right, actually, it is stated and it is required of us that as a girl, if you're speaking to let's say a man or your father or you're giving him something, you're supposed to kneel, right? As a form of respect. And those are just manners. In the offices, that even as you go, as you're with your bosses or you're in board meetings, and then like, there's also a way that you're supposed to behave as a lady. Like you don't just act like goody. Um, I'm a girl. I can do whatever I want. Like that's no excuse to behave rowdy. You're supposed to have standards. You're supposed to know. Okay, muntu kakaba kulu. If you have something to say, you can ask. Can I say something? Or I have something to say. Can I have the floor? Or things like that. It's also about how you address people, how you communicate with people. You don't just go kungobwera basi ungomusa muntu ndufuna yakuti. I don't think that's how we ask our parents for things even, unless otherwise. But like from what I know from my parents, like if I want to ask for something, I will greet and then I will lay my request that this is what I want to ask for. So those are just the simple manners that you do. How you communicate to your parents and also saying thank you to your parents. Just because, learning how to say thank you. I think Antambili, because these people that do these things for us are our relatives. We say it's their job and their responsibility. But I think saying thank you, especially to your parent, would also make them feel like doing it for you again. Like if your parents give you school fees, say thank you for the school fees. It's their responsibility, yes, but say thank you for the school fees. Or thank you for the dress. Thank you for the money. Showing gratitude is also a sign of good behavior. So like I said, it's about how you behave, not just at home, but also in the social circles and in the professional circles.
Do you have anything to add? Okay, so like I said in the beginning, when you're called to a palace, you must learn the language of kings. You cannot just throw words around. You cannot ignore authority anywhere you go. This world has rules that you must follow, right? And my second question is, we are a generation, we're using a lot of technology, yeah? We have a lot of phones, and tunasiya kutenga mabible, ina tunasiya kutenga mabible kuchechi kale kale, right? So we are the first generation navigating etiquette with phones and social media. What are habits that you think we need to unlearn as young Christian women? How does our phone usage affect our daily ability to actually see the person in front of us?
My opinion on that, I would say Gambiri, when you're around I don't know. And are just addicted to their phone. They don't know how to just put their phone down and want to talk to you. Conversation they will always get their phone, their hands, guys, which is, I think, it's a problem in this generation, which is kind of affecting my relationships, Panova, like any relationship. We should learn to control or to what? Kusibanga discipline. Like this zone as already this person in front of me is a person. How would I feel if I'm saying something or I'm trying to talk to this person, Komano, she's constantly on her phone, like you feel ignored. So I feel like Kanyama phone is this is yours already when to play with her phone, and yeah, that's all I would say.
Thank you.
All right. I think one thing that I've noticed that is a problem that we need to unlearn in this our generation is that khalidwe sitipuzira pa social media, no matter what. And social media should not dictate how we behave, how we act, or how we dress, especially how we behave. Just because something is trending doesn't make it right. Just because everyone else is doing it on social media doesn't make it right. The ways that our parents have been using, have been teaching us, have existed long before we existed. And they worked back then with our forefathers and their forefathers and with our parents. And if we see our parents and see that they're respectful, it means those strategies still work. And if we need to learn these things, we should not go and learn them on social media. And this is something that we should not let social media set the standard of how we should behave as girls or in the social circles. Because people will say, Woody, nowadays it's allowed, Woody, a girl should be doing this. But just because it's allowed on social media doesn't make it right. And even if 100 people agree that you should do it, but if you know in your heart that it's wrong, then don't do it. Thank you.
You mentioned that we should not learn etiquette or khalidwe sitimaphunzira about social media. There is also a saying, kuti it takes a village to raise a child, right? Zambili, balantwena ukuthi izinto zambili aphunzirira banja. Good behavior, bad behavior, aphunzirira banja. So how do we tisankhe banji, tizipatule banji kuti ichi chinditenge, ichi chinditisiye.
Okay, now this is where identity steps in. If you know who you are, it will be easy for you to identify what is right and what is wrong. It indeed takes a village to raise a child, but the child has a responsibility of receiving and not receiving. So if, for example, I know that I'm a Christian and people are teaching me how to drink, I can say no because it is against who I am. It is against my standards as a Christian. So if you know who you are, it will be really easy for you to see, okay, is this in Ngabange now? Yes, the village allows this, but this is not something I can take part in. So if you do not know who you are, if you have no identity, it will be really easy for you to take anything you're given. So know who you are. And that way, it will be really easy for you to pick out what is right and what is wrong.
They say kuti ukama pita kosaka uli ndi njala utha kudya china chilichonse, yeah? China chilichonse ngati if you're famished and you're empty, there is nothing inside of you, you can take whatever. Ukhoza kudziphatikiza iweyo kuchina chilichonse chifukwa nazo you are empty and you just want to feel something. A lot of people who drink or smoke or like are going through things, I'm just doing this because I want to numb the pain. I want to feel something. I am numb, right? So you should also be able to work on your self-worth. Like they said, Kuti, like you should know your identity. You should know who you are. Kuti, ineyo ndindani. And there are certain things I do, there are certain things I don't do. Have a standard. Kuti, apopo siningakafiki ineyo ndibwerera ababa. Yeah? So we are here and after kupanga my professional courses and after my internships pompano and after we are aspiring to be whatever we want to be, and we have dreams, we have goals, we want to be big, yeah? These are my mentors, and we will mentee, like we'll find mentees in future. We'll mentor other people. So we are in a season, yokuti tizipezeka malo. Maybe yokuti palantu akulu akulu oposa nsinkwatu, and you're 22. You're around people are in my 50s. Yeah? And Tamina Jama cousin zokuti akukuyangana iweyo with scrutiny. But then you're young, you don't know any better sometimes, and you're learning, yeah? So, just like Esther, many of us are entering boardrooms or high-level spaces where we might be like the only Christian there. And chena on sale, akupita ku team building meeting, ku scholars kaya kuti, and they're drinking there. How do we use etiquette to take our seat at the table with confidence without feeling like an imposter? How do we develop that holy intuition to know where to be silent and where to speak, where to learn, where to argue, where to set boundaries without appearing arrogant? Chifana zokuti anthu akuluakuluwa pena, they have their own thinking. The generation yokuti, yeah, they made their own mistakes, they learned their own ways, and then you are young, now so you're thinking, mostianandio. How can you communicate your point to them? Kuti ababa, I think without sounding like kuti you're being arrogant, and instead of getting opportunities, could you take some opportunities?
All right. Number one, set boundaries gracefully. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean that people should look down on you. And also, just because you're a Christian does not give you an excuse to behave in funny ways in the office. Okay, let me rephrase this. It's a professional setting. There are rules in the place that they have put, which they require you to do or follow, which show how you should behave in the place. So as a Christian, you should be able to follow those rules and still maintain the standards that you have for yourself. You do not have to break your own standards just because you have to follow the rules. And like I said, you have to do things gracefully. You have to set boundaries and let people know. People should know, if muntu kakawuri unaiga ma boundaries kumayambiliro, like when people know kuti uyu zimwabanga ndizizi, even if it's an entire circle full of people kuti mumabanga zindosiyana, they would still look at you as an exception and say, in as much as we all do this, because this is not what she does. You understand? So when you set boundaries, it teaches people how to treat you. Number two, dress and look professional. At least, just because you're a Christian doesn't mean goody like people should be like, which a Christian, like people pray and still look beautiful. I mean, just because you carry God doesn't mean goody, you should never really look good. Look good and have confidence. Even Esther, she looked good. She was beautiful. That's why she was selected to go to the palace, to be chosen even as queen. She was beautiful. She looked good. So also look good. Just because you're a Christian does not warrant that you should dress anyhow or look funny and many other things. Like I said, kumakan my standards, this is how I want to be looking. You can be a Christian and still slay. I mean, you can still look good all the time while being a Christian. So these are things that we should think about and set.
Do you have anything to add? If you're in TikTok, I believe some of us here are on TikTok, right? And we see those videos. Ajna Mami G.O. Oguti, like we talked about the issue of modesty, yeah? Could I dress modestly, osamangovala muna muli monse and whatnot? So now you start feeling like iwe onde nkristo okuti